Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan, and for this week's vlog I sat down with Darren Tate to talk with him about the Angelic classic It's My Turn. Enjoy! Darren Tate is a well-known name in today's music scene. During the years he had plenty of success with releases under names such as Jurgen Vries, DT8 Project, Orion, and also under his own name Darren Tate. In his early career, he teamed up with Jules and Jules' wife Amanda for a project which they called Angelic. The very first Angelic track came out back in the year 2000, which became the track It's My Turn. Because of the upcoming 20th anniversary of It's My Turn, I decided to sit down with Darren to ask him about the story behind this classic and more. Since Darren is a classically trained musician, my first question to him was if he could tell a bit more about that.
I started learning piano when I was 4. I then learnt clarinet and theory at school. I always had a fascination with electronic music and synthesizers. I'd go to music shops when I was this big and stare at very big synthesizers with lots of buttons and want them. And so my enthusiasm turned gradually into, more of a pastime and then a profession. The orchestration arrangement side, initially I taught most of that to myself, but then when I actually, back in 2007, actually got full-on professional teaching by a guy called Phil Venables, who's a great composer, came and taught me advanced orchestration that allowed me to further develop my skills in that regard. So that's pretty much my classical education.
So when did you decide to start working on dance music?
I had a friend called David Garfinkel who I went to university with, Leeds University, and we had a band. We were in a band together, and he used to be really into things like Pete Tong. He'd bring mixtapes around and do tapes of the Essential Selection and go, oh, you should do this. He knew I had the synthesizer, and we would work on stuff together. And eventually I just went my own way with it and just started developing a sound, and so that's really where it came from. I was actually doing, even before that, I was doing everything. I was doing jungle and drum and bass and everything before I did trance. But that became my main thing once I started getting into that sound.
So what was your very first release ever?
My first release ever was actually a white label on a label called Perfect World, which was run by a guy called Kevin Parkinson, who called himself Sherlock, and it was a double white. On one side was a track called Rush and on the other side Dream of Me. So that was the first ever release. My first professional retail release was Angelic It's My Turn.
So yeah, that's the one we're going to talk about now.
Okay.
Next year it's exactly 20 years ago since It's My Turn came out. A track you did together with Judge Jules and his wife Amanda under the project name Angelic. How did the three of you meet each other?
We met each other because basically my manager, I have a feeling you may be coming to this question, but basically Sirius Records got hold of what the original version of the record was, and Judge Jules didn't like the vocal on it, but he liked all the music, which is basically the bit that I had done, and he was like, well, I'd be up for doing a top line on this. How would Darren feel about my wife singing on it? I said, let's do it, go for it. And it was born from that. It was slightly odd at first because they were like, I didn't actually meet Amanda. She would do the session when I wasn't there. But then later we became friends and got to know each other.
Okay. So is it true that It's My Turn was actually a remix of the track Changed by Sunscreen, which got rejected and never came out?
No, that's not quite right. What happened was, it was a remix. I was given this guy Kevin, who I mentioned before, gave me a set of tracks to potentially remix. He used to try and go to labels and see what they were up to. And I was given a choice of a couple of records if I wanted to have a go at them, if I wanted the parts. One of them was Changed by Sunscreen, and finally another one was Delirium Silence. And in this case I went with Change, but me being me, when I don't like any of the music, I'm just going to take the vocal and just do a whole new record. And then what happened was, so I'm not going to go into the details of it, but I basically, the Sunscreen tried to take the record as their own and not give me any credit for it, and it was an awful experience actually. And they actually own a big piece of It's My Turn, despite having done no music on it. And it was a bitter time, I'll be honest with you. And but that's part of life, and you grow up with that. And I moved on from it, you know. The bottom line is, at the end, so they actually did still do a version which took my music and then just re-edited the parts, but I don't think it ever got released. And also Jules was at a point where he's like, I don't want to continue with this. You're going to have to, if you want to continue with this, you're just going to have to just go along with this. And I thought, it's just a record. Let's just do it because, I want to get it out there and move on to the next one. That's it,
So It's My Turn became very successful. It was in the UK singles chart for 10 weeks and it reached the number 11 position. Did you have any idea the track would be this successful?
Not really, no. I think it was Homelands. It was one of the big gigs, and I remember Amanda told me, I was in the south of France and Jules playing a gig down in Cannes. I remember Amanda said, "Darren, this record's huge in the clubs," and I was like, "Okay, great." And then Homelands, and I remember everyone in the audience singing it, like literally, like 20, 30,000 people were singing it, and that's when it really kind of dawned on me, how big this record was. So yeah.
Is it also the highest of your own track that has ever been in the UK singles chart?
No, not. No, the highest was the opera song. With that was Jürgen Vries with Charlotte Chase.
So can you tell us a bit more about the production process of It's My Turn?
Yeah, sure. So I actually purposefully, I went on the right over there are two synthesizers, and the one on the right is an Ovation. And back in the day when I was looking to buy a new synth, and those are days when I was, I still had a job. So I'd be spending £1,000 or whatever on a piece of hardware. I remember going to Turnkeys, and I was specifically looking to buy a synth to do these records. And I auditioned the JP8080, and I immediately recognized the saw pad as what Ferry Corsten had used on Guriella and Out of the Blue, System F and all those records. So I went, I'm not going to get this one, I'm going to get this one because it sounds different. So that became the synthesizer, then the Novation that then became, was used for a lot of the riffs of It's My Turn, along with the Nord lead, which I have sitting over there as well still, which I'd bought previously. And a stack of other Rompler boxes like the Roland JV1080, which I had, and I was using, I think, a Roland S760 sampler at the time. So those were the boxes that made that record. And the Novation then went on to become the foundation of other records, such as the Jürgen Vries ones.
So how long did it take you to finish the entire track?
I did it after work one day and finished at about 3 a.m. So that doesn't include the vocals, to be fair, but all the music was done in about 7 hours.
Not bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
So I assume Jules was the very first DJ to play It's My Turn on the radio?
Yeah, he played it. He actually played it without the vocal originally. And then, because obviously the track started building up, he was adamant that the instrumental wasn't released. He wanted just the vocal version to go out. Which is how it came to be, but I didn't hear it on radio that first time. In fact, what was quite cool was I went to Clockwork Orange at the Hanover Grand to see Jules play with some friends, and I was expecting him to play the record, which is always something when you first make a record. It's quite exciting when you're in a club, and he didn't play it the whole night. And then we got in a cab to go home, and as we got in the cab, the person put the radio on, and there was the record playing. And it was like, well, that makes up for it, doesn't it? Because there it is, and it was the first time I heard it.
Oh, that's cool. So you guys also had to go to Top of the Pops for the performance on TV, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell a bit more about that?
Yeah, it was the first time I did Top of the Pops. And it wasn't in White City, it was out in the the middle of Shepperton, where they had the BBC had studios. It was amazing because it's at that time, Top of the Pops was something that you idolized, you know, the idea of being on it. People used to, you know, it was like you didn't expect something like that to happen, and then there you are with the whole thing, the logos and the cameras, and you're going, wow, you know, I've done this. This is great. You know, this is some kind of, maybe a small mountain, but it's great to have climbed it. So that was a cool experience.
So how important has It's My Turn been for your career?
It was really important, because off the back of that, I was immediately, people took notice of what I was doing and were asking me for remixes and this and that. But in all honesty, the music business is an incredibly tough thing to work in, and you can be there in 1 second and forgotten the next. Even after doing it for 20 years, that can still happen. So, you know, every day is still a challenge in that regards. But yeah, it was great. It was an important step.
So there have been several remixes of the track from the likes of Frank One, 4 Strings, Corduroy, Flip and Phil, and some others. What is your favorite version?
Well, the original, obviously. That's an easy one.
So next year the track is 20 years old. Are there any plans to do something special for the 20th anniversary?
Not right now. Well, I haven't spoken to Amanda, you never know. We do still speak to each other.
So what is your favorite memory of the release of It's My Turn?
Probably when we were shooting the video and it was freezing and Amanda had to put things over her bits because of the cold. I bet you weren't expecting me to say that.
So how long after the release of the track did you actually start working on music as a full-time job?
I probably quite soon after. I mean, I was working in the city as an IT consultant and as a programmer. So I wasn't prepared to just, because I'd already, to be honest, I'd already had an experience 5 years beforehand with a music studio, and the experience was so rotten that it made me go and do my normal day job. But I never stopped doing music. I would come home and do music all the time, every day. And so, but I needed to know that there was going to be enough money there, bottom line, to survive in order to do it. And thankfully I was able to be consistent enough that there was. And that's really where the roots were laid from that point onwards.
So during the years you produced dance music under names such as Jurgen Vries, DT8 Project, Orion, Citizen Kane, and of course under your own name Darren Tate. But you also work on music that has nothing to do with dance. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, first I do a lot of film music. I've done 20 film scores, including some really great films. I did one with Ed Harris called Frontera, Eva Longoria, Michael Pina. I worked with a guy called Ken Lample, who was a professor of music at Hofstra in New York and then went to be director of Canberra University, and he was actually contacted me originally. He was a fan of mine, having seen some articles I did in magazines. And so I suggested us working together in films, and that's how that relationship came about. At the same time, I was doing my own classical things because I would score and stuff. And so I was recording through that period stuff that had no relationship to dance music, and also producing with other people, which is why now I find myself split between doing dance music but also other projects.
So is there still anything on your bucket list, music-wise?
I would say just in terms of maybe some of the people that I would still like to. I mean, I haven't done, like, I'd like to do, say, a really massive Hollywood film. You know, I haven't done a sci-fi film. I'd like to do a science fiction film, the score for one, and I'd like to do a Bond film. Yeah. So those two are definitely on my list of things I'd like to see.
So what else can we expect from you in the near future?
Well, on the dance front, obviously DT8 Project is full flow right now. I still do the faster trance records with Darren Tate, and I'm doing DT8 with Angina Beats and with Mondo. We're still developing the label, and we've got some exciting things coming out with the label in terms of the live side, and with Steve Jones and the Space Brothers is getting involved. I'm working with a major international artist on an orchestral album right now, which is very exciting. I'm looking forward to sharing more information about that soon. More films, and I also do house music under various projects as well, So I'm busy.
So what is your favorite own production ever?
I'd say probably the one that I think certainly in terms of dance records, probably Destination. I just think that really came together in terms of the musicality and the chords and the song. It's one of the record, that and the Let the Light Shine In, probably the two records that I get requested the most to play when I DJ.
Yeah. So, and the last question, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
I don't mind if there's a bit of ham thrown on for good measure.
Well, thank you very much for your time and good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Alright, that was it, this week's vlog, my interview with Darren Tate about It's My Turn by Angelic. Darren, thank you very much for your time, much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe. And in case you missed it, I did another interview with Darren Tate. That one is available on my channel already. And in that interview we talk about the Jurgen Vries track, The Team. So don't forget to check that one out as well. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.